Combat sports fans, it's time for Strong Style, Impact Media's weekly dive off the top rope into the world of mixed martial arts and professional wrestling. I am your host, Jeremy the Impact York. It is good to be back. Still trying to sort out getting everything back on, and it has just been such a crazy, fun, chaotic year so far. Stuff all over the place, personal stuff on my level. Told you some health updates here and there. Good now. Just overall good to be back. First off, shout out to the PFL. This is an awesome shirt, and they gifted it to me. I would have bought it, but this is an amazing shirt. I love to wear it. Back to me here. There we go. Back when they were in the big ATL. This may have been 2 years ago shirt, but last year's shirt as well is fantastic. Um, we'll talk a little PFL here in a minute because their event is coming up about a month out, their next wave of regular season stuff. But either way, we are back. We are going to talk some UFC out of the gate. Um, we'll say a little stuff before then, but like I said, we're going to talk some UFC. We've got TNA Under Siege. I think they should have renamed it. One of the world's biggest fan of it, but we'll talk about TNA a little later. AEW, of course, and WoW, and I cannot forget NXT. If you're looking for WWE updates, tomorrow night, me and Daniel are trying to sync up our schedules so that we can talk about Backlash, review that, and hopefully we can. Either way, you're going to get a WWE update tomorrow night. I am hoping that it is both of us who can be on to do so. But that'll be your WWE update. But before we do all that, if you're watching us on YouTube, then you already know. Make sure you click the subscribe button wherever that is. I'm not sure. I think it's up top somewhere, so I'm just going to say it's probably around here. Go ahead and hit subscribe. That way you know when any of our shows are going to drop here on the media channel, impact_media_. And also leave us a question, comment, suggestion, rating, review. Had that happen on our Board Check show the other night, Board Check 99, for all of our hockey content. Shout out to them for the amazing content comment. I love it. Big Canucks fan, and you think the Predators are going to rebound? Very possible. Very possible. That's hockey. You want to hear our hockey stuff? You go to Board Check 99. This is impact_media_. It's the easiest way to find us on YouTube. Also, what am I missing? If you're following us on any of the social medias, whichever social media you might have found us on, please go to the YouTube page and like, comment, question, suggestion, subscribe, do all those fun things. We have gained some subscribers here lately, and it's been fantastic. It's even better when we get to interact with you guys, because that's a lot of why we do this show. Sure, I love talking about it, and sure, I love covering this stuff, but it's more fun when I get to discuss the things with you all. And let me know who you want on. If there's somebody on a local level, if there's somebody you think that I can reach out to, then I will try to do that to get them on. I will, and if not, I'll either send you a message and tell you why I can't, or we'll figure something out. But other than that, I did register for the Peachtree Road Race, as I do every year for the past 5 or 6 years now. I can't remember how many. I think this is number 6. I am getting a little better as far as doing those. I would like to beat my time. It takes me about an hour and a half, which is it feels like work when you're jogging, walking through 95-degree heat in Atlanta, and that's at like 9 in the morning, because I try to get in an early wave. But I did do, and why this matters to you guys, because a lot of you guys are probably like, why does it matter that he runs this race in the middle of July? It's not the middle of July, July 4th. I run it for a lot of different reasons, but that means I'm open for business. If you guys want to have your name on on my shirt that I'm gonna wear, on a wristband, on a headband, there's a lot of different things. If you want to basically be part of the sponsors that sponsor all the things that I do race related. We're gonna do some other stuff. You want to sponsor the show? We can set that up too, and I'll put your ad right here. I'll wear your shirt. All kinds of just what we'll figure that out if you want to sponsor anything like that. But if you want to sponsor any of my Peachtree Road Race, um, let's pretty much say by like early June. Just contact me any of the ways that you find us on social media or right here on the channel. I don't care if you comment under here, and we'll find a way to get in touch with you, and we'll talk about it. Because if you're going to be a big enough sponsor, then maybe you will help decide what I wear for the race. I will keep in mind, like I said before, on board check, keep in mind no ski jackets and no Chuck E. Cheese costumes because it is 95-degree heat, and that's health would be a factor there. I'm not fleet of foot, like I said, and not in the world's best shape. So let's not make that worse. But beyond that, if there's a crazy costume you think it'd be funny for me to wear, if you put up enough sponsorship dollars, and it's not as high as you think. I'm not going to be like, oh, if you give me $500, this because it's like this. Depending on what we raise, I'm gonna put some of it anyway into a charity. We will figure out what charity to do that to. But if you're one of the big sponsors, then like I said, you'll help dictate what I wear, and I think it's gonna be fun. Beyond that, All Black Temples, really good band out of Tennessee. Go check them out. They did not pay me to say this, but really good guys, and go check them out. You can catch them on all the social medias. Really, really good rock music. You guys are gonna like it. Other than that, let's catch everybody up with where I've been, and then we'll start UFC. Just last Friday, I was at the Gwinnett Stripers baseball game. Now, for people who don't know, that's the AAA affiliate of the local Atlanta Braves. We're out of Atlanta. We're a good ways from Atlanta, but we're right outside the metro where we're at. We're in a good place. But why would me going to a baseball game have anything to do with this show? Well, first off, it's really cool. I want to tell you about it, and you should go see a Gwinnett Stripers game if you get a chance. Also, they played against the Durham Bulls. Yep, Bull Durham is about the Durham Bulls, the real team. Always wanted to see them play. Got to see them. And also Deep South Wrestling. Our friends at Deep South Wrestling. Uh, you know, Jody Hamilton and family. That's Nick Patrick. You guys know who Nick Patrick is if you watch this show. Eric Adams with a Z. And shout out to all the amazing talent. They had Nathan and Drew the Drewski on commentary, but they had matches before the baseball game. I got stuck in traffic. I didn't get to see those, unfortunately. I've seen replays, good as always. But they had a battle royal after the game, and the game was fantastic. Won a couple extra innings. Stripers ended up winning. But battle royal. Normally at a battle royal, there's some slow moments, there's some filler moments, and then you kind of get towards the end. No, I kept looking to see if more people were going to come out. I kept trying to figure out who I thought was going to win. I thought I had it figured out, and then I was just short. I was just short of figuring it out. But quick shout out to some people in the Battle Royal, people I thought that did a spectacular job. CT Entertainment. I'm becoming a big fan of that guy. He takes some ridiculous amounts of punishment, and just entertainment's in his name, and he is very good at it. He's a pretty good wrestler too. So CT Entertainment, I thought you're the runner-up MVP. Don't take that as a diss, because I thought you were the second best in the battle royal. My MVP by far, Luka Daniels. Luka Daniels. Shout out Luka Daniels. It is not because I believe we share an affinity for the same professional baseball team. That'd be a bonus. But Luka Daniels, normally in a battle royal, you want somebody to come in early and pretty much be the workhorse, the one that everybody feeds off of and everybody keeps everybody going the entire time. and I think he made it all the way down to the final three before he was unceremoniously dumped. Uh, Pretty nice, by the way. Pretty nice way to go out. But at times he rolled under the ring. He would hide in the corner underneath the rope and stuff. And then other times he was right in the middle of the action. He was playing. I mean, it was like Miz 101 of how to survive a battle royal, and he was doing every bit of it. A lot of people were like, "Oh, he's not in the action." No, no, no. He would get a breath. He was right back in the action. New guy would come in. He was the first guy to greet him almost every time. So my MVP, Luka Daniels. I said he was the next to last person eliminated. He was third overall. In final three. The winner, Jacob Johnson. Good for Jacob Johnson. He won $25,000. Real money they handed to him. $25,000 for winning this battle royal. I don't know the name of the guy he eliminated, but it was a big dude. And Jacob Johnson, big dude. His dude was big, a massive human being that scares me a little bit. I'll be honest. But Jacob Johnson won, and without missing a beat, Skrilla the Great, the heavyweight champ of DSW, was in attendance and watching just over a barrier. He decided he's going to go confront Jacob Johnson. And basically, he said, "You won a battle royal. Congratulations. You won $25,000. Congratulations." Picks up his belt, puts it in his face, but you're not the champ. And so him and Jacob Johnson kind of verbal jabs back and forth a little bit. We couldn't hear them because the crowd was really, really popping. But Skrilla goes to leave the ring. He gets one leg out, goes to lean under the rope, and he looks, and Jacob Johnson has made one of the biggest mistakes in wrestling. One thing a lot of people forget, he turns his back on the champ. So Skrilla, under his own, nobody told him to do this. I'm going to put that out there because I have it on good authority from multiple people, including himself. You turn your back on the champ. Well, he got back in, and as soon as Jacob Johnson got down off the rope, he caught the belt to the face. That's what you get. Don't turn your back, especially on Skrilla. But great event out at the Gwinnett Stripers game out at Coolray Field. Just spectacular, spectacular. Some people were a little bummed there wasn't any fireworks. Apparently, the firework company had something to do with that. There was a mix-up. But they honored it. We all got vouchers to come back to other games. I would happily pay to go back. I plan to pay to go back. I'm gonna get my vouchers for somebody else. Um, but we didn't need fireworks. We had post-match fireworks or post-game fireworks with the matches, and just overall spectacular night. Just shout out to them. They've got a couple events coming up. Maybe we'll get a couple of them on there. Got once again shout out to Matt Sells, otherwise known as the Boozerweight. He threw out the first pitch, and while he was a little bummed that he sailed it over Chopper's head, congratulations, buddy. You always wanted to throw out a first pitch, and you got to throw out a first pitch at a professional baseball game. You're only one of two people I've ever met to do that. One of two. That's how many people know somebody that threw out a first pitch? That's crazy. So shout out to him. Maybe we have the Boozerweight on at some point because the next Deep South Wrestling event, and I will talk more about it next week because it is not this weekend, but the following weekend is on Sunday, the 19th. I believe bell time is at 3 p.m., maybe 5. I think it may be at 5 p.m., but regardless, we'll talk about it next week. But Deep South Wrestling will be at Das Barbecue. And I promise you, they did not pay me for this spot. I am just that excited for this show. And the following Saturday, they will be at New Realm Brewery up in it's right off the belt line, I believe is what they're calling that big track that goes all around Atlanta. But I've been up to New Realm. It's got fantastic. They have fantastic food. They have really, really good brews and other stuff. And I'm curious to see where Deep South is going to have this thing because this should be fantastic. So let's get into some UFC. Shout out Deep South. UFC. We had UFC 301 down in uh it was Rio, right? They're in Rio. We know they're in Brazil. Yeah, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. A lot of Brazilians on the card. The world did not go all Brazil's way, but he had Pantoja, who gets unanimous decision win over Steve Urseg in the main event for the flyweight title. Um, Urseg tried. I just Pantoja. I pretty much had this. I think there was moments Steve had some good times here and there. I'm gonna say it was one sided, but at no point did I feel like Pantoja was going to lose this. Just me, all the Urseg fans. If you want to shout me out for it, that's fine. In the co-main event, Jose Aldo gets unanimous decision win over Jonathan Martinez. Same basic thing. Jose Aldo, ageless wonder. I felt pretty good about him winning the entire time. Didn't think he was going to finish Martinez, and didn't think Martinez was going to get the victory. So, good, solid showcase of skills. Now, the one I was really excited about was the third match on the main card, where Anthony Smith gets the guillotine choke on Vitor Petrino and pretty much gives him loss number one in the light heavyweight division. Anthony Smith needed a bounce back. A lot of people thought he should have hung it up 3 fights ago. Anthony Smith's a fighter, man. Sure, he's doing this media stuff, and him and Bisping do the podcast, and there's so many other things that he's getting into that he's really good at. The commentary, he works the desk and things like that a lot. But Anthony Smith is still a really, really good fighter, and he has a legitimate shot to make a run at the title. And I think he wants to do that. I think he wants at least one shot, and then he'll decide what he wants to do at that point. But it was only 2 minutes into the fight. Really, a minute in, it was pretty much over for Vitor. Anthony got his big bear paws on him, and I was like, Vitor's in trouble. Then here come that. It was a guillotine choke, right? Are we guillotine choke? Guillotine choke. Yep. Okay. I know I hear people argue all the time about what it was called, this or that. And I was okay. Guillotine choke. That's what we're going with. But great win, Anthony Smith, on that one. The other one that I really enjoyed was see, this is why I got it confused. We're making sure, because also the guillotine choke was Michael Pereira, who took out is it Pochera? Ihor Pochera? Oh, we're gonna go with that. I never say his name right, but only 54 seconds in. It was a night for guillotines, man. There haven't been this many mentions of guillotine outside of like a French Revolution history class in a long, long time. But Pereira, fantastic showing as usual. Ihor will rebound, and he'll be back up on the top in not too long. But Michel Pereira, oh, great going, buddy. And then I believe fight number 5. I think this is the other one. Um, you get Kyle Berardo, who took out Paul Craig. I don't know about Paul Craig. He's a good fighter. He just comes up just a little short. Just a solid handful of times here lately. It was by punches, that particular TKO. Um, don't know. Paul Craig's a good fighter. He's only 17, 8-1. He's going to rebound, but he's got to put some stuff together, because he's kind of losing a push that I thought he was getting. Um, what was another one? Good one. Drakkar Closa took out Joaquim Silva, unanimous decision win. That good one for Closa. He's had a weird career in the last 4 or 5 years, just kind of ups and downs and weird injuries, and like the one wasn't he the one that he got whiplash basically from, I think, uh, Jeremy Stevens pushing him at a press conference. It was just some weird stuff, but good to see him get back on the winning card. Now, got to talk about UFC Fight Night. Derek Lewis versus Rodrigo Nascimento. This one is at the Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri. And I want to start off there by saying Derek Lewis is a minus 170 favorite, plus 140 for Rodrigo Nascimento. I very much think Derek Lewis is going to win this. And there's also this rumor that he is currently in talks with WWE. I don't know if it's going to be like a one-off, like maybe he shows up at SummerSlam, or if he's wanting to transition from being a heavyweight fighter to potentially a wrestler. I think he's got the build. I think he can do it. There's a lot of examples of people that have crossed over. It's not just Ronda. Um, but I think Derek Lewis with his personality could be a pretty good wrestler if he really wanted to be. I think he could have a pretty solid 5, 6 year run, 7 year run or something. You can wrestle up into your 50s if you take care of yourself. But I'm not sure what his motivation is. If he wants to keep going for UFC stuff or if this is just a one off. But we'll kind of see what goes on with that. I very much think Derek Lewis is going to win this. Um, Rodrigo's going to keep it close, but I think Derek's going to try to get this out of the way by the third round. I don't think he's going to let it go five with it being a main event. If I was him, I wouldn't go 5 rounds with Rodrigo. I would try to get this out in the second or third if I could. Co-main event: Joaquin Buckley at minus 130 favorite versus Nursultan Rizaboev, who is a plus 110. That's almost even money. In the welterweight division, give me Joaquin Buckley. He's not just known for the super finishes. He can actually go the distance. He can do what he's got to do. And Rizaboev um, has a solid chance to win this, but I just think Joaquin Buckley is going to end up taking this. He's going to down Nursultan with a strike, but he's going to finish it on the ground. It's not going to be a TKO until it hits the ground. Um, Match number 3, Alonzo Menifield at plus 230 makes him a dog against Carlos Ulberg at minus 280. I know a little bit about Alonzo. I don't know much about Carlos. I know that he's 10-1, and this is a light heavyweight bout. But without knowing a whole lot about, uh, can we get anything about Carlos? Oh, we got something pulled up now. Producer Sassy coming through in a pinch. His one loss was to Kennedy Nchukwu by a TKO. Other than that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 TKO victories of his 10 and 2 decisions, 2 submissions. Dude's out of New Zealand. He's pretty solid from the like I said. I know Alonzo Menifield is uh is pretty good as well, 15-3-1. Give me Carlos Ulberg. Just reading that little bit there. I don't know. Got a feeling about him. I just think he's going to figure out a way to do it. So far, I know I'm picking favorites. It may just be the way it goes. Match number 4, Diego Ferreira is a plus 375 underdog. Ouch. Versus Mateus Rebecki, a minus 550 favorite. Yeah, Mateus is probably going to win this one. I think he's going to do it by submission. I feel bad for Diego, but that's just the way I see that particular one playing out. This should be fun because the entire main card is on ESPN Plus and ESPN. Is the whole card on ESPN? The whole card is on ESPN. That is spectacular. Because Saturday, I think I am not booked to be anywhere or cover anything. Got some stuff early morning, maybe mid-afternoon. But whenever this kicks off, when does it kick off? Does it say? 4 p.m. prelims, main card starts at 7. I'll make sure I'm home. That is a spectacular time to sit and watch some great fighting on ESPN. That's a good deal, guys. Or if you don't have ESPN, get ESPN Plus. It's like pennies on the dollar every year, and it's you get all kinds of amazing content, not just UFC stuff. You get all kinds of stuff. If ESPN paid me to talk about it, I'd tell you a lot more. But like I said, Mateus is going to win that one. Alex Caceres is going to take on Sean Woodson in the featherweight division. Caceres is a plus 175. Sean Woodson is a minus 210. Don't know a lot about Woodson, but I've seen Alex Caceres fight. I know he has fought 35 times to Sean Woodson's 13. And Woodson may have a better record at 11-1-1. Give me Alex Caceres. I think he is going to find a way to get that victory. Let me see if there's any other ones. Tisha Pennington, otherwise known as Tisha Torres, she is now Tisha Pennington, is a plus 115 underdog to Tabitha Ricci, who is a minus 135. That might be the best prelim fight. I think so. I want to see if Tisha has got her head back in the game. I think she does, but I also think Tabitha Ricci is probably going to win this. But either way, I look forward to these two ladies. That's gonna be a fun fight. It's gonna be a really fun fight. Was there another one that jumped out to me? Oh, of course. And I'm biased on this one. I would absolutely. It has a lot to do with this. Because you guys know the story of how I met and got to hang out and chat with one of the fighters in this one. But JJ Aldrich is a plus 115 underdog to a minus 135, 8-4-1 Veronica Hardy. She is one of the nicest people I have met in the fight game. And her and her husband, Dan Hardy, are outstanding people. Chatted with them both at a PFL event, and go Veronica, go Veronica. That's exactly what I say there. I told you PFL's got an event coming up. Their next event is June the 13th in Uncasville, Connecticut. We'll talk more about that, in the next couple weeks. But they got Valentin Moldavsky against Linton Vassell in the heavyweight main event. It's going to be pretty fun. So let's shift gears. Let's go to TNA Under Siege. I told you I was a little underwhelmed with this. I was a little underwhelmed because TNA always has had the talent, whether they're if they were Impact Wrestling, if they were TNA, if they were Dog and Pony Show Entertainment, it doesn't matter. Whatever they call themselves, they have always had a high talent level. The difference sometimes is the way they book matches and the way that they put feuds together just sometimes don't work, and they got to know to just bail on one of them that's bad. WWE's pretty good at it. AEW's pretty good at it. TNA never been the world's best at just knowing when to just cut the line and go. Just, you fought the fish, old man of the sea here. You fought the fish for a day and a half. I understand there's a pride thing involved here, but at some point, for the sake of making it to the next day and not losing your audience, you got to know how to just drop it. I mean, here's a pay-per-view, and for the most part, the main matches didn't help any current stories they have going. It really didn't. You had prelims. Rhino defeated VSK in 3.5 minutes. That almost wasn't worth having. It probably took Rhino that long to get to the ring. VSK the same. It probably took longer for them to get to the ring and announce them than it did for that match. Why? That's useless. The FBI, the new FBI, Ray Jazz and Zach Clayton with Little Guido defeated a team called Batiri, who is Oberian and Kodama. Another 4-minute match. I know you're trying to showcase the FBI, but also Batiri is a really good indie team. Look them up. It could have been a good showcase. Instead, it was 4 minutes. This is on a pre-show. You could have just had an hour-long pre-show and had the longer matches, but instead you had a 3.5-minute match, a 4-minute and 16-second match, and this one that I'm about to talk about for the TNA Digital Media Championship, otherwise known as the TV Championship. There's including the internet. That's why it's called that. 6 minutes and 42 minutes. The Laredo Kid kept his digital media title over KC Navarro, who was a good talent. 6.5 minutes. Why didn't you have a 30-minute? You could have had all these matches be at least 8 minutes, and you could have had a 30-minute pre-show. Don't know. I'm gonna try not to tear this show apart. But then your opening match, Josh Alexander and Eric Young, two really good talents, versus Steve Macklin and Frankie Kazarian, two really good talents, in a tag team match. Why? What happened? I watch it at TNA every week. What possibly happened where Josh and Eric joined up? There wasn't a whole lot of anything that really happened during the week. And I'm not forgetting anything because you guys know I take notes on wrestling shows. I'm that guy. Uh, but of course, Alexander and Young win. At some point, if Josh Alexander and Steve Macklin want to get into a program, great. If Eric Young and Steve Macklin want to get into one, great. Josh Alexander, you want to do them in any way possible, but they're just, it was pretty much just, we need to work you guys into being on the pay per view so you can get your bonus. Pretty much what it was. 12 and a half minutes, by the way, for those four in a tag team match. It should have been a 10-minute match. I'll argue the opposite on that one. A little over 5 minutes for Ash by Elegance with the personal concierge defeated Havoc with Rosemary at ringside there. They're trying to build up Ash. She's a good talent. Dana Brooke. You guys remember Dana Brooke. I like what they're doing. It's different. I like it, but it just seems like they're missing the boat a little bit. And you're building her with squash matches. So what happens when she faces an actual talent? Like she's faced it before and she barely got through it. It's not saying she's not good. It's just when you it's like putting the ball on the tee and letting your little kid just swing away and they're smashing the ball off the tee. And then you come in, you start throwing 40, 50 mile an hour uh, pitches to them and they can't touch it because they're so used to hitting it off the tee when they can choose when to swing. When you have to make them look and make them swing when you want them to, it's a whole different thing. And that's what's happening here. You have to quit doing these squash matches. And I mean, good win over Havoc, but I think you could have done a better job of trying to build them. Because aren't you trying to build Havoc and Rosemary as a credible tag team in your division? Not a good way to do that. Random match, but ended up being really good because both of them are really good. Joe Hendry. I believe, and I know you guys believe in Joe Hendry. He defeated Zachary Wentz in a singles match that was 5 minutes and 13 seconds long. I mean, is their pay per view only 2 hours? You have their pay per view so far 12 and a half, 5.5, a little over 5. Who ate up the time? The two matches in the end ate up the time. Okay, we're getting to them. One of which was sneaky stole the show. But good win for Joe Hendry. He's got to do something to get away from AJ Francis and Rick Swan. He writes funny jingles, and they're really, really good. And he's a really good wrestler. I guess he's going to go against the Rascals now. I don't know. It'd be different. And Hendry versus them is a good clash of styles that I think would do well. Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich beat Spitfire, which is Danny Luna and Jody Threat. They had Lars Fredrickson out there, by the way, from Rancid, the band Rancid. That digs deep into my early teen years. But that's for the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championship. See, that's the thing is now. I mean, it's just make your own team and we'll give you the tag titles. Like everybody gets a shot at them. I thought Danny Luna and Jody Threat were a really good team. Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich are gonna get there, but they barely teamed any. And what happened to Masha and Killer Kelly? Is Killer Kelly hurt? What's going on? That's her tag partner. Why did she suddenly join up with Alicia Edwards? Doesn't make any sense. Rich Swann with AJ Francis, who of course played a role in this, defeated Jake Something, who loses to about everybody. He wins during TV, loses on pay per view. I mean, what is he? The Toronto Maple Leafs? I can say that I'm a Leafs fan. When the lights are the brightest, Jake Something usually doesn't win, and it makes no sense. It's not him; it's them. But that's 11 and a half minutes for Rich Swann and Jake Something. They backloaded this really, really terribly. That should have been a 5-minute match. That's one that makes sense in 5 minutes. Um, the match I enjoyed the most, 9 minutes. Jonathan Gresham versus Kushida. These two could have went for an hour and a half, and it would have been the best hour and a half of the entire pay-per-view. This was incredible. Incredible. They're building up Jonathan Gresham um, to hopefully be a big time threat. I wouldn't mind seeing him as the world champ, but just absolutely fantastic. Gresham gets the win. I don't know where they're going with his latest gimmick, but we will find out what they're actually going to do with that. But great match, fantastic match. But these two have wrestled dozens of times, so they know what they're doing. Jordan Grace and PCO defeated Steph Delander and Khan by pinfall. It was just a regular tag match. It took almost 11 minutes. Yes, I'm going to be stuck on these times. Nothing special. You needed something for Jordan Grace to do against Steph Delander, and PCO and Khan just since Matt Cardona just had surgery and is not physically able to compete, he had to throw in Khan, and so you might as well throw in PCO, and it was filler. It was a decent match because the four of them can work, but what does it mean? Doesn't really build to anything. Uh, Mustafa Ali defeated Ace Austin, as we knew he would. Ace Austin's been a tag guy for so long. He's still good. He's still really good. Him and Chris Bay are fantastic singles guys who happen to be one of the better teams in TNA right now. But Mustafa Ali wins his match for the X Division Championship, was able to retain it there. I would like to see, like, if Ace Austin was going to break apart from Chris Bay or even do more of a singles thing, if he wanted to pursue more of a singles thing, then I would have believed he had a better chance in this. But he's still a part of the team with Chris Bay, and I think they should actually keep doing that for a little while. But good match. The two of them can work. 16 and a half minutes. It's not bad. I'll give him that. And then that was the co-main event. The main event, the system, which is Moose, Brian Myers, and Eddie Edwards with Alicia Edwards, defeated Broken Matt Hardy and Speedball Mountain Trent Seven and Mike Bailey in a 6-man tag match. For what? For what? Trent Seven and Mike Bailey are one of the better teams as well. And the current tag team champions, I believe, are Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards. Not a bad team. Pretty solid team, but it's that this was thrown together in like 2 weeks, and it just and it took 24 minutes, almost 23:49, according to the unofficial timekeeper. Why? Why does it take 24 minutes for us to know that the system are going to win this? Broken Matt Hardy comes back out of nowhere. No reason for him to win because Moose versus Nick Nemeth or Moose versus a lot of other people make way more sense. What is the next one? Sacrifice? Do we know when Sacrifice? It just underwhelmed. Underwhelmed big time. Nope, not Sacrifice. No, it's Rebellion. Rebellion was April. This was May. Do we know? We don't know what the next one is. Okay. Well, no. I'm just trying to see if maybe it would tell me what the next. Oh, here it is. Next one is Against All Odds. That is going to be June 14th at the uh, Cicero Stadium in Cicero, Illinois. That'll be on TNA Plus and YouTube. Do we know any matches? No, we don't. So that's fine. But just they got the talent. I just think they both they're really, really off the wall. Um, while we're at it, let's go into NXT. First, I wanted to commend the efforts, the draft that they did. They totally made fun of they totally made fun of the NFL draft. It was really funny the way they did it, but it was really serious too how they moved some people around. The people that were impacted the most were the NXT stars. The NXT stars were Kiana James, Dijak, Dragunov, Blair Davenport, Carmelo Hayes, and Lyra Valkyria all got drafted to either Raw or SmackDown, which leaves a void. There's a lot of people at the top. It's Trick is the champ right now, and that's one thing. But there's a lot of places that are going to get filled in now, and it'll be interesting to see who gets pushed up to that upper level. They keep doing the thing where Lash Legend and Trick Williams kind of have this little awkward chemistry to them. Wouldn't doubt they're already dating each other or something like that. But even if they're not, it's interesting the way they're playing it out. Now it's that Lash knows something about Trick. We'll see what that means. Because I haven't watched this week's because I want to do the show first. You guys know how I do it. But other than that, there seems to be a logjam for people who want Oba Femi's North American Championship. He beat Ivar. Wesley said some stuff. Briggs said some stuff. At some point, there'll be a three-way dance or a fatal four-way or something, and it should be all right. JC Jane versus Thea Hale. Hale ended up winning this one. JC Jane got her nose smashed, had successful surgery the other day, and apparently is recuperating. She got it pretty good. Pretty good. We'll put it that way. And then Fallon Henley turned on Thea Hale at the end. Fallon needs to do something different anyway, and she's kind of off on her own. So why not take the spot of JC Jane, who is currently out? Who's going to be out? Kind of take that villain void because Kiana James is gone. JC Jane is out. Not a lot of heels walking around NXT right now in the women's locker room. Fallon, why don't you go do that? Gallows and Anderson beat Tyson DuPont and Tariq Igu. Not a bad team. They hyped them up for like 10 minutes. And then this match happened, and Gallows and Anderson wiped the floor with them. It's just because they're that polished too. Tyreek and Tyson did some good stuff. They're going to be a good team going down the road, but for right now, they were the bug, and the Mack truck was Gallows and Anderson. Women's North American title. It's going to be a thing, and I can't wait for that. They needed a secondary title down there because they got so much. The women's division NXT is one of the best in the world. It is so deep in talent. It's just amazing. But there was kind of a melee that involved with that. Be interesting to see. I think they're setting up some sort of tournament to figure out the first champ. Consider that the person they think is going to be the next person up, the next person up to the main level. That's what you should kind of look for with a title like that. They're doing something a little different with the men's version with Obafemi. He's good, but he's not ready to bump up main event level or nothing yet. Shawn Spears got beat by Ridge Holland, but I like Spears' role of bringing out the other side of Ridge. And I think at some point they should team up, or maybe Spears should just be that guy that keeps drawing the other side of somebody out like that. I think it's a great role. And Shawn Spears is one of the best anyway. He's a great worker. And Ridge needs something. Ridge is out on his own right now. There's nothing. Sheamus just came back all by himself. Butch is no longer called Butch. He's back to being Pete Dunne, and he's in a tag team without Ridge. You got to find your way, or the WWE will find your way, and it usually means outside the door. NXT Battleground is going to be at the Apex in Las Vegas. That is the UFC Apex. That is a big deal. The fact that the UFC and WWE and Las Vegas are partnering for a big event, this will not be the first time. I would be willing to bet that you see a lot of cross-branded stuff very, very soon, and you should be excited. That is June 9th, by the way, so we'll talk more about that in a couple weeks. The AOP took on Frazier and Axiom. Pete Dunne and the strong boy got involved with it. It's just a melee that's going to help later on down the road. Three really good teams. Lola Vice with Shayna Baszler took on Natalia with Petrovic in her corner. It was part of the NXT Underground, kind of the Raw Underground stuff. It was basically similar MMA sort of. So and Lola Vice was doing a really good job of what she's good at, which is the strikes and a lot of the MMA holds and stuff. That's where her background is, folks. Um, Natalia, on the other hand, was doing a good job of countering it and really balancing it out. And of course, it come down to Shayna put Petrovic in a rear naked choke and would only let go if Natalia let go of the hold that she had on Lola Vice, and that allowed Lola Vice to do, I believe it was her spinning back fist that she won with. But I like the shakeup, and I like that you're using Natalia and Shayna to help pump up Petrovic and Lola Vice, who could be, two of the bigger stars in the NXT Women's Division very, very soon. But NXT continues to just do some awesome, amazing things. Let's go to AEW. AEW Dynamite. Tony Khan is still dinged up. He cannot fly. That's the angle he's going with. So he stayed in Jacksonville. It was also right around the draft. He's staying in there to do some Jacksonville things. But the Young Bucks interrupted him and said that the EVPs were running the show. That's fine. Swerve and Nana come out, and then the Young Bucks came out to introduce that Christian is going to be the next big opponent for Swerve, and his crew came out. Swerve versus Christian. It's going to be really good, and it's going to be a good, solid win for Swerve. He's going to come out of this because he has bigger things to do, and they're coming up the road. Match of the night for Dynamite was Adam Copeland defending his championship against House of Black member Buddy Matthews. Looked like Buddy Matthews got a little dinged up during the match, but I think he's going to be okay. Just got a little dinged up. Mr. Rhea Ripley, as some friends of mine refer to him, should be all right. Really good match, though. I mean, Buddy Matthews got to show everybody how good he really is. Then we went to Samoa Joe versus Isaiah Cassidy. Really funny moment. Isaiah Cassidy runs against ropes, does a swanton over the top rope to try to land on Samoa Joe, who had just nonchalantly just started walking in a different direction. It was hilarious. I'm sure Isaiah didn't think it was that funny, but it was hilarious to watch. Try to find that on YouTube if you can, or one of the social medias. It really funny. I know I took a video of it or I didn't. I know I found a clip of it and sent it to other friends of mine that thought it was hilarious, and they started watching the show just because of it. And then, um, that's not even a big moment that happened after that. That was basically the main event. No, it wasn't either. Jericho defended his FTW belt against Shibata. FTW means basically ECW rules. They did all kinds of stuff. Ted Irvine was in the house. That is Jericho's dad, hockey legend, great guy. Jericho or Shibata, though, they use things like hockey pucks as weapons, like dumped them out like tacks and then suplex people on them, and that had to be absolutely awful to fall on pucks like that. But Big Bill came out and made sure that Jericho was going to win that. That's an interesting pairing. If Bill listens to Jericho over the next year, he should be a world champ. Brian Cage versus Claudio Castagnoli. These were two. This was King Kong versus Godzilla. They destroyed the town, destroyed each other. Claudio ends up with the win. Really good though. Really, really good. These are two guys that know how to work, know how to put on a show, and did not disappoint. Serena Deeb took on Mariah May. Mariah's not ready for Serena Deeb, and Deeb is just too technical for Mariah to come anywhere close. Storm ended up, Tony Storm was down there. She threw in the towel to save Mariah May. Kind of wish she'd have done it about 5 minutes earlier, but it's just kind of how it worked. We got to see Kenny Omega come back, and then we got to see the new Elite come out and attack him and drop him on his surgically repaired neck. Or no, it was his neck. He has abdominal surgery that he had, and they made sure to kind of wear him out with that before FTR makes the save. So it looks like Omega's out of the Elite, but looks like he's better off with FTR. On Rampage, we get to see Jay White versus uh, Dante from Top Flight. Dante's really good, but Jay White is on another level. I really wish maybe him and Swerve could have a world title match or something like that. He's good enough to more than do that. He's just they're not going to give him the title at this point, at least with Swerve and MJF around. It's just unfortunately not going to be his time. But Jay White with the win there. Bullet Club Gold with another solid win. Got to see Rocky Romero versus Kyle O'Reilly. I've seen the two of them wrestle 6 dozen times. This was just as good as any of those. Kyle O'Reilly seemed to get a lot better. He got a haircut and seems like he's getting that ring rust knocked off to where he is going to be a thorn in the side of his former teammates, Adam Cole and the Undisputed Kingdom. Uh, maybe he joins up with MJF to do that. We don't know. But O'Reilly looked really good against his buddy Rocky Romero. Sky Blue, who apparently is getting people kicked out of the arena now because a lot of people are antagonizing her on a really bad level. But she had a good match with Willow. And of course, Willow's going to get the better advantage of that because we're going to get Willow versus Mercedes Moné at some point. Mercedes Moné is going to win the title, and Tony Khan is going to kick himself for signing her for the ridiculous demands she has. There was no collision because there were basketball and hockey and all kinds of other playoffs that took up the time spot. But we go to WOW, Women of Wrestling. Pretty good moments there. There's more news going on outside of their tapings right now. It seems that the Tonga twins have almost officially left. If they haven't already, they're out of contract. And from what I hear, they're wanting to move on. So they probably will. We got to see the return of Steffi Slays, who is used to be basically the mascot for WOW Women of Wrestling, and now seems to have she's got a slightly different look, little bit different demeanor. Seems to be in a lot better shape. Not that she was in bad shape before, but she seems to have changed some stuff around. She had some good matches before, but it seems like she's in a really, really good place. Maybe we see them try to propel her to other levels. Gloria Glitter took on Pep Riley. We knew that all the people around Gloria were going to help her win that one. But WoW they have a backlog at the top, and there's a backlog of trio teams right now, and it interesting to see what they want to do because they had a big trio tournament, but you won a trophy, and nobody has really challenged that team since. So I kind of want to see what they do, but it's also been a couple weeks since I've seen Fury and a couple other ones that I thought are really good. So I'm kind of curious to see where they are. We've seen Abilene Maverick in the last couple of weeks, Americana and Santana Garrett, and Siren the Voodoo Doll came back. Chantilly Cella, How the Dead. It seems like they've kind of flipped her good, maybe. But there's just a logjam at the top between Penelope, Pink, Princess Aussie, Abilene Maverick, just a bunch of them that could really be going for the world title, and kind of look forward to where they're going to go with that. WoW is it's incredible the talent that these ladies have, and I know I watch every week, and I know you guys watch every week too. And speaking of things you watch every week, we appreciate you guys that watch us each and every week. But we have made it to the end of our show. I'm Jeremy the Impact York. This has been another great edition of Strong Style. We will see you guys next week. Make sure to stay tuned sometime this weekend for mine and Daniel's recap of WWE Backlash and kind of what WWE is doing right now. But until then, we will see you guys next week. Go watch wrestling. Go watch fighting. Deuces, gooses.